It's the Bible. Oh god. Should we put this here? Hello everybody, I am back with yet another video. It's been a while since I've uploaded. The only excuse that I have is school. That's really it. I wish I could make more videos, but that doesn't really seem to be the case due to some circumstances. But that's besides the point. That's also why I'm doing a review and not a reaction and review. Yeah, I'm going to be reviewing and giving my thoughts and opinions on the new Jesus is King album by Kanye West. If you don't know who Kanye West is, then who are you? Why are you here? Even if you're not the biggest fan of music, you know who Kanye is. So, little disclaimer, I'm going to be very critical of this project. So this is just a forewarning to not harass, belittle, or talk down upon anyone who has a different opinion. I just want to make it clear that everyone's opinion is respected. So with that being said, let's get on with this review. First, I'll go into the elements that I like. Production-wise, Jesus is King is very versatile, it's unique, and I appreciate how every song is catchy and memorable in one way or another. Despite Kanye delaying this fucking album to improve the mixing still seems a little off. That might just be me. It might be my headphones, it might be my sound system, I don't fucking know. An example of this is the fuzziness in Follow God. It may be intentional to match the vintage aesthetic with the sample that he chose for the beat, but I don't know. Despite all that, sonically this album sounds fucking great. If I were to just ignore the lyrics and the concepts, I'm foreshadowing right here, then I wouldn't mind playing any of these songs. He definitely explores with a lot of sounds and genres. The backbone of this choir and singing that is strung throughout this album gives it this very nice aesthetic that sort of reinforces that idea that this is indeed a gospel album. Obviously it's with the Kanye twist, however, which also makes it very exciting. Follow God and Everything We Need are smooth with these simplistic yet attention-grabbing beats. Water's instrumental tiptoes on Aunt Clement's singing that gives this track a light, bubbly feel. Overall, there are definitely aspects from each individual track that I like when it comes to these instrumentals. So there are still a few positives that I want to give on this album, but I'll sprinkle them in with the criticisms that I will be presenting to you. First off, the structure of this project. Even though there wasn't a song I hated, I liked every track, but together all in one, it's very messy. I almost get exhausted due to the amount of times Kanye pushes me front and back, left and right through all of these different genres. Due to how short the tracks are and the tracklist length in general, it's difficult to grasp what's really going on. It doesn't really seem like a consistent album, but more like a mixtape or compilation of songs of Kanye praising Jesus. Speaking of praising Jesus and loving God, oh my goodness, the lyrics and the concept of this fucking album. In a way, it gives off this sense of irony. Whether it would be intentional or not, you don't really know with Kanye nowadays. Obviously, there was a significant 180 when it comes to what Kanye was rapping before to what Kanye is rapping about now. From falling in love with porn stars to falling in love with God. But I digress. I don't want to compare this to his past works too much because that's not really what my reviews are all about. Anyways, there was just so much wasted potential with what Kanye was trying to do. Yes, I know that this is a gospel album and Kanye does reinforce it a lot with his verses, but he says so much which equivalates to one simple thing. There's really no substance in what he's trying to say. The more I try to dig deeper into these concepts and ideas in this project, I barely discover anything. On the surface level, this album seems very intriguing, but the more you go into it, it's just hollow. He just fails to answer the question, why? He just gave us this theme to a story without actually telling the plot. Kanye tried to walk this really fine line of trying to cater to his own fans and Christians, which are two very different parties. Unfortunately, he didn't necessarily succeed in that. He even was self-aware and paranoid in a way about this potential backlash in the song Hands On. As mentioned before, he fails to reinforce why he made this album and what lessons he's learned from religion in order to better himself as a person. Yes, he may have touched on it here and there, but it's all covered in this thick blanket of hollow preachiness. And I know that some of you are gonna say that gospel music isn't supposed to be hyper-specific on this one concept or one story of one individual other than Jesus. But you have to keep in mind what Kanye's audience is. Gospel was originally meant for people to express their religion and to reunite groups, and it just gives this sense of community. But when it comes to Kanye's community, this just clashes, and it's very apparent. And this is pretty dumbed down, but for someone who isn't Christian or has different beliefs, it's gonna be hard for them to relate to this album. Hi, post-editing me here. I also just want to mention that the briefness of gospel music gives room to people who do practice and follow a certain religion to connect easily and to tie in these lyrics to their own personal experiences. Yet Kanye's audience is so diverse. Rather than opening up about his experiences to somehow link a connection to those who don't necessarily relate as much to gospel and Christianity, he just yells into the mic on how much he loves God, which further creates this disconnect to some of his listeners, in my opinion. I just think that this concept was just poorly executed when it comes to this aspect of the album. I just wish he was more personal and delved deeper into this idea of religion helping him grow as a person, and I feel like that sort of learning experience would be much more relatable and resonate with more people rather than Christianity itself. And sure, people will set aside the whole gospel preachy gotta love Jesus messages and appreciate it for its music. In a way, I am doing that also. However, with all these criticisms I have about this album, thank the Lord that he didn't attack or degrade anyone who has separate beliefs than him. I also see how this album may serve as nostalgia to people who were probably in choir or who went to church as a kid. Overall, the album is alright. For me, I don't see the longevity of it. I don't necessarily see myself coming back to this album frequently. Even though the production is fantastic, just Kanye screaming how much he loves Jesus in your face, it's the factor that really brought down the listening experience for this album. I'm giving it a 6 to 7 out of 10. It's a decent album, that's all I gotta say. If this song were to come up from shuffling a playlist, I wouldn't go out of my way to skip it. That's really it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little review. Do you agree with me on some parts? Do you disagree with me on others? What are your opinions? Leave them in the comments below. Be civil. Don't attack anyone because they may have an opposing opinion to yours. Make sure to follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Album of the Year. All that good shit. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to get to 2K by the end of the year. And yeah, I'll see you guys whenever the hell I have the time to upload again.